Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment, and my buddy and I, Rich, are back here kind of filling a little void while Doc is on his way back from Quebec City. And I don't even know where Randy goes anymore. He goes so many places and travels all the time. He takes off, and we're like, whenever he's back, he sends us a note, and we're cool with it. So,
Yep.
but Rich and I wanted to get together, kind of fill this gap a little bit so we weren't sitting around too much. And we've been kind of sitting on this one for a while. We've been wanting to do it together, and that's the top 25 songs of Bob Dylan. Each one of us we're come up with our own 25, and we wanted to share that with you. And Rich, I really appreciate you doing this with me, buddy. I mean, I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan, especially over the last 5 years, and big fan of his work, his artistry, and everything. And I never got to see him in concert, which was kind of a bummer, but I really am a fan. So, was this a hard task for you, or relatively easy, you would think?
It was easy, although I have to, in full disclosure, admit that I don't have every Bob Dylan album. I think about half of them. I think I have 22 of the 40 or 39, whatever it is. And so it won't be you know, in-depth list, but it's the 25 songs that I like the best.
Mm-hmm.
I had about 50 written down, had to go, pick out the 25 best. We've been sitting on this project, like you said, for about 6 months, and we put it off for various reasons, jumped into other projects, and with the extra time we have, it was fun to finally do it. So we have no idea what's on each other's list. It'll
No,
be a nice reveal.
no, we're going to be very much surprised. So, all
Yeah.
right, everybody. So we're going to dive in, and how we're going to format this is we're going to go five at a time. Rich will give me his 25 down to 21, and then I'll do the same, and then we'll just keep going back and forth, and then we finally will get to the point where we're counting down our top five. Be sure to like, sub, and comment down below. That helps to keep us in the algorithm. Make sure you list your top Bob Dylan songs. If you don't feel like putting 25, just put five. If that's all you've only listened to one album, say you listen to one album, but how much you enjoyed it. We're perfectly content with that. So, Rich, without further ado, my friend, let's get this started. Start at 25.
Cool. All right. I'm going to start off at 25 with a song off Blonde on Blonde. Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35. Everybody Must Get Stoned. Kind of a song for the times. And it starts out with that dun, 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 that whole beginning.
Yeah.
Really cool. Interesting for Dylan. More up tempo than a lot of his songs, but that's my 25. My number 24, famous song of his, Mr. Tambourine Man. I prefer the Birds cover, actually, but Dylan wrote it. It is one of his early staples, so I have to put it on here at 24. Number 23 is from the 1976 album Desire, and that's Hurricane. Boxer Reuben Hurricane Carter's plight of being unjustly imprisoned. Later became a Spike Lee movie starring Denzel Washington. Bob has some great lyrics in here, really cuts to the core of the issue. Put it at number 23. Number 22 is off Highway 61 Revisited, and that's Ballad of a Thin Man, one of Dylan's most puzzling and interpreted songs. Who exactly is Mr. Jones? I don't know. I don't pretend to know, but it's a cool song. It really is.
Yeah.
And number 21, I went with the song written for his son, Forever Young, from Planet Waves, 1974. They played this at a lot of concerts at the end. Everybody gets together on stage, Forever Young, that kind of stuff. So really cool. That's my first five out of the chute.
Excellent. I got a couple of matches there already. The Forever Young song is interesting in that Rod Stewart had a song that was so close in the 80s that he did actually give Bob Dylan some writing credit for that.
Yeah.
And I think that was good of him. I mean, to me, I listened to it. They're not necessarily that close, but
Yeah.
maybe
But
just
it's a good
enough that a legitimate artist would respect another legitimate artist.
Yeah, I agree
think
100%.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. So number 25 for me, let's see, I've got from Oh Mercy from 1989. I've got Political World. What I like about Oh Mercy, I think I've just recently got the album itself. I've listened to it many times. Is I love the atmospheric production style, and I think it's because Daniel Lanois was a part of the project, and that really kind of enhanced the album. So I picked Political World there. Number 24, From modern times, which is a little bit more of a contemporary one, I've got Ain't Talking. This one is really what I really liked about this one was the bass in it, and the drums were really pretty extraordinary. Tony Gardner is the bass player for this one, and he does an excellent job on it. And it was a little bit of a different flavor for Bob. Number 23, I've got an outtake from Oh Mercy, which only appeared at first on the Greatest Hits Volume 3, and that's Dignity. Came out in 1994, I think, was when they released the Greatest Hits 3. Brendan O'Brien was the producer of that one. Number 22, I have got It's All Over Now, Baby Blue from Bringing It All Back Home. There's a lot of covers of this song too, a lot more than I thought there was. And then Animals did a really great cover of it in the mid 70s that I thought was good too. But Bob Dylan's solo guitar and harmonica really kind of showcased his, folk roots in this one, and really, really great. Now, 21 for me is another one that was only released as a single in 1965, and it appeared on his Greatest Hits, and that's Positively 4th Street. Really, really popular song. I think is maybe most notable. I think Mike, this may be one of those big stretch of the Mike Bloomfield playing guitar for him on it. So I like the texture of it. It's a little bit different for him, and I wanted to include it in my top 25. So
nice. Yeah, I've got a couple of those that'll appear later on too.
Excellent. All right, where are we at?
Number 20 for me. I like some of the country stuff too up in Nashville Skyline. I went with Lay Lady Lay, which was a top 10 hit. In fact, it was his last top 10 hit, his fourth and last top 10 hit, 1969. And it was originally written for the movie Midnight Cowboy, but it wasn't submitted in time. Bob was a little tardy with that, and they went with another song. I believe it's Nielsen's Everybody's Talking. Number 19, again, the same album, Nashville Skyline, teaming up with Johnny Cash on Girl from the North Country. Just a beautiful kind of tune. It was originally on Dylan's 1963 album, Freewheelin', and then he re-recorded it and put it on Nashville Skyline, which is, I'm glad he did, because I love the two voices contrasting here. Number 18 is from The Times They Are A-Changin' from 1964, and that's With God on Our Side.
Ooh,
just a chronicle of historical events from the Spanish-American War to the Civil War to both World Wars, Holocaust, Cold War, and the role that God may or may not play in it, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Deep kind of lyrics, I think. And I wanted to include that as well. What am I at? 17. I went with Desolation Row off of Highway 61. Just a poetic masterpiece, incredible composition, 11 minutes long. There's so much to dive into that, but because of the length, it sort of moved down on my list. I couldn't put it as one of my favorites, but I love the song. It's great. Number 16, again, one of his most famous songs, Subterranean Homesick Blues.
Nice.
Influential music videos with the cue cards and the lyrics, and you've seen other people try and do it, but Dylan was the original, with the little afro hair and mommy's in the basement cooking up the, whatever the lyrics are. Really cool stuff. It makes my list at number 16.
Nice. Yeah, I couldn't. Again, a couple more you'll probably see down the road from me. I really like the deep pull there from This Times Are A-Changin' with God on Our Side. I think that's excellent. That's one I would have not expected, but excellent. I love that. I love deep cuts, man.
Yeah,
I really do. So
that's a good one.
All right. So for me, I got at number 20, I've got From Blood on the Tracks, 1975, Meet Me in the Morning, which is like the leadoff track of the second side. A very blues-oriented one. Mick Ronson is featured on the guitar. I really like that track. It's really great. Now I finally get to number 19, where I have the first of probably a few Blonde on Blonde songs from 1966. I got I Want You Here, which has got it's got Robbie Robertson. The first time I think maybe featured with Dylan. He'll go on. They certainly go on to do a lot of stuff together.
Really,
as they go forward. Also, Al Cooper appearing on the organ for it. It's a really great kind of upbeat song and get a little bouncy, and I really enjoy it. Number 18, I've got here's probably a match. We got Lay Lady Lay, 1969 from Nashville Skyline. featuring Pete Drake on the pedal steel guitar. Excellent texture to the song. Yeah, maybe underrated in a lot of ways, and a lot of people probably misinterpret, what it was actually about at the beginning. So
Yeah.
I am sitting at number 17 now, right? Yeah.
Yep.
17, I got Cold Irons Bound from Time Out of Mind, 1997. This is one of the late 90s phase for him, where he was still had Daniel Lanois doing some producing for him. Really great, hard sound to this. It almost feels industrial in a way, and maybe that he drew some inspiration from some of the other types of genres that were going on in the 90s at the time to kind of come up with this one. And number 16 for me is from Slow Train Comin', which features Mark Knopfler on the guitar for this particular track, 1979. Gotta Serve Somebody. Starting a little bit of his religious phase was kind of coming into play here. And this one had a really nice feel to it, nice, easygoing, laid back listen. So I wanted to include it.
Very good. We've got quite a few songs on here so far. I mean, different ones.
Nice.
Yeah. I like it. Good variety. Number 15, as we continue on, is Knocking on Heaven's Door from Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, the soundtrack, Sam Peckinpah Western from 1973, starring James Coburn and the late Chris Christopherson, right?
Right, yeah.
Just passed the other day. So Knocking on Heaven's Door, later done by Guns N' Roses. They had some success with it, but I like the original here, Mr. Dylan. Number 14 is one you had earlier. It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, from Bringing It All Back Home. The harmonica is key. It's like a kiss off in the lyrics to somebody in Dylan's life, a mysterious person. Could be a girlfriend, a confidant, his folk audience, whoever, but he's laying it out there, and then It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. I love it. Number 13 is one of his masterpieces early in his career that everybody's done a cover of, and that's Blowing in the Wind, off of Free Will and Bob Dylan, a timeless protest song, actually listed number 14 on Rolling Stone's greatest songs of all time. It gets a lot of praise there, and rightfully so. I actually like the sort of commercial version that Peter, Paul, and Mary did as well, but Blowing in the Wind by Bob Dylan can't be denied. Number 12, I don't know whether this is dark cut or not, a deep cut rather, from Time Out of Mind, 1997. I've got Not Dark Yet.
Nice.
Dylan at his raspy voice best. You know, he's kind of beaten down, weary, staring down old age, but he's still surviving for the long haul. And the refraining theme is just like that little comment he makes. Number 11 is from Blood on the Tracks, Simple Twist of Fate. Just a sad, beautifully written song, meeting the person of your dreams, your soulmate, but it doesn't quite work out the way you want it to. Simple Twist of Fate, number 11.
Excellent. Again, I think I got a couple things there. We already matched on one, and maybe a couple more that we're going to hit on there for sure. I mean, Knocking on Heaven's Door, I mean, that one's one of those super covered songs, but again, I agree with you. It's Bob's version is the better one. Not that I dislike a lot of the other versions.
No,
it's just that his is the most iconic to me, and I know it was only made for the soundtrack, but I think it's timeless. So,
and his voice actually goes, if you've seen the movie especially, his voice and he was in the film, sort of goes with the vibe of the film. I mean, Guns N' Roses did their hey, that little thing. It was okay for that audience, but this is the original, and this is the best one for me.
Excellent. All right, so number 15 for me, I've got Corinna from 1963's Free Willin' Bob Dylan, featuring Bruce Langhorne on there. Really nice, soulful tune. I think Free Willin' Bob Dylan's quite underrated.
It is.
And his catalog. I think, if it wasn't for the fact they had the self-titled album, probably, I think, wedged in between there, he would have had a massive run of great albums in a row. Number 14, I've got from Blood on the Tracks. I've got Tangled Up in Blue, which is really an iconic song for him. I mean, even my daughter absolutely loves this song. Eric Weisberg playing on the guitar. Great great song. Another match here I've got for us at number 13. Am I right? Yes.
Yep.
Mr. Tambourine Man, 1965, from Bringing It All Back Home. Again, him on his playing solo on guitar and harmonica, typically at the same time, just it makes it that folk endearing classic that you just love. I had to include it in here, and I definitely had to have it pretty high.
Yeah.
I think I'm at number 12.
12.
Just Like a Woman from 1966, Blonde on Blonde. Charlie McCoy on guitar, Joe South on bass, and Al Cooper, of course, joins him again. I'm going to have, another track from Blonde on Blonde, certainly, if everybody knows me by now. And finally, at number 11, from Free Will and Bob Dylan, 1963, I've got Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. We keep going back to Dylan playing the guitar and the harmonica at the same time. Man, it's just massively talented. So, and this is a great track, timeless track. So needed to include it.
Definitely one of my favorites. Number 10, top 10 territory. Don't Think Twice. It's All Right.
Nice.
Free Will and Bob Dylan, kind of a mutually two people breaking up. I liked some of the lyrics, like, I gave her my heart, but she wanted my soul. Don't think twice. It's all right. And then another lyric I want to feature here is, goodbye is too good a word, babe. So I'll just say, fare thee well. I ain't saying you treated me unkind. You could have done better, but I don't mind. You just kind of wasted my precious time. Don't think twice. It's all right. He always gets those little shots in there, and I like
He
that.
does. Yep. Uses those double rhyme schemes to stick the
Yeah.
knife in and twist it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a classic. Number 9, Blood on the Tracks again shows up, and that's Shelter from the Storm.
Nice.
Just a great use of symbolism and metaphors and great imagery in here. Again, I want to read a couple of lyrics. This just shows some of his writing skills. I was burned out from exhaustion, buried in the hail, poisoned in the bushes, blown out on the trail, hunted like a crocodile, ravaged in the corn. Come in, she said. I'll give you shelter from the storm. I just love his writing and his delivery and nuanced phrasing sometimes. Number 8, we have a match here. You just mentioned it in your last 5, and that would be Just Like a Woman. Number 8 for me on Blonde on Blonde. Al Cooper again, one of his sidekicks, a master of the organ. Dylan with the harmonic. He's describing a woman who's attractive, I think, fully mature on the surface, but fragile underneath, with her fog, her amphetamines, and her pearls. Little descriptive thing. She makes love just like a woman. She aches just like a woman, but she breaks just like a little girl.
Yep.
Love it. Number 7 is the title track from The Times They Are A-Changin'. This is an anthem of the 60s. My God, it's a great song. Came along at it was almost parallel to the civil rights movement at that time. It was written a month before the JFK assassination, time of upheaval, protest, and change. And it takes its spot at number 7 on my list. Number 6 is one of my personal favorites, Things Have Changed, from the year 2000, a single written for the film Wonder Boys, starring Michael Douglas and Tobey Maguire. It won the Oscar for Best Song. There's some cool cultural references in here. He takes a line from a Percy Bysshe Shelley poem, Sapphire Tinted Skies. He fuses that with a Dwayne Eddy line and an instrumental hit, 40 Miles of Bad Road, and weaves them into the lyrics. I'm locked in tight. I'm out of range. I used to care, but things have changed. Love it.
I love the fact that you included that song. Excellent.
It's one of my favorites. Number 5 is one you had earlier, and that's Tangled Up in Blue.
We're going to save you top 5, right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I went overboard.
Right. We're good. We're all right. We're all right.
Strike that from the record. Back to Brian.
It happened. You're picking another song. Don't worry about it. All right. So where am I at here? Oh, yes. My top 10 finally got here. Number 10 for me, you had it. It's I think it's a classic off the album, Time Out of Mind, Not Dark Yet. Yes. 1997, produced by Daniel Lanois. I first heard the song. It was on Henry Poole Was Here, which was a movie with one of the Wilson brothers. I can't remember which one it was, but I thought it was great. It's like one of those slice of life films, and I heard it on that soundtrack, and I had to go seek it out, and then discover Time Out of Mind. So excellent. Number 9 for me, Ballad of a Thin Man drops here for me from Highway 61. I think I just love that down, 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 down. It's got that, that's that whole blues, type of method that's used on a lot of blues type of tracks, very Muddy Water-ish type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's a classic though. Number 8 for me, we got a match here. Don't Think Twice. It's All Right from Free Will and Bob Dylan.
Yep.
Again, another track from that album. That's how much I like it. Bruce Langhorne is also featured on here. And number 6 for me, I've got this one was featured on Build a Perfect album for me. So I think it's a deep cut. It takes a lot to laugh. It takes a train to cry from Highway 61. So I got 2 highways right here in the top 10 already. 1965, Bloomfield's on here, Cooper's on here as usual. Just a really endearing track to me. For some reason, just resonates. And finally, number 6 for me, we almost had a perfect match here, and I have Things Have Changed that appears on the Wonder Boy soundtrack and also on the album for the Essential Bob Dylan. Larry Campbell plays the mandolin and the guitar on the track, and I think for some reason, if you listen to it without Bob singing, it just fits right into the 90s. For some, he just like for some reason he landed perfectly in the 90s and almost seamlessly. And I applaud him for being able to do that. And I knew that he was going to be able to survive in the going forward if you could get into the 90s somehow and not sacrifice who you are. I think it's good. Yeah.
I think you're talking to me on that.
What's that?
I think you're speaking directly to me on that.
Yeah, one. Exactly. I mean, 90s are a rough go. Either if for some bands, if you weren't doing grunge, you were in trouble real fast, right?
Yeah. So, that was an exact match. I had it number 6 also. Things have changed.
Then it is a perfect match then. Excellent. Yeah. I love it.
Cool. All right, breaking into the top 5. I jumped the gun earlier, but number 5 is Tangled Up in Blue. Nice. Opening track from Blood on the Tracks, Dylan's divorce album. Actually, when asked about whether it were autobiographical, Dylan is quoted as saying, "It didn't pertain to me. It was just a concept of putting images that defy time, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I wanted to make them all connect in some kind of strange way." And he does that perfectly. Number 4 is Positively 4th Street. You mentioned it earlier. It was recorded during the Highway 61 sessions, but not included on the album, released as a single. Heavy organ by Al Cooper here. It's got that attitude and nastiness and acerbic wit that Dylan's known for. I wish for just one time you could stand inside my shoes. You'd know what a drag it is to see you. I love that stuff. Number 3 is Visions of Johanna. Blonde on Blonde. I'm not ashamed to say I have no idea what the song is about. It's kind of indecipherable, lyrically challenging, but the writing is so poetic, so beautifully thought out. The ghost of electricity howls in the bones of her face. I mean, you got to be a genius to come up with that one. Along with the jewels and binoculars hanging from the head of the mule.
Right.
Visions of Joanna, they make it all seem so cruel. I just love this song and the way he sings it. Number 2, surprising it's going to be this high up because you had it earlier, but I just think that highly of it, and that's A Hard Rain's Are Gonna Fall. Allegedly recorded in one take, which is unbelievable. Amazing song. This is lyrics written prior to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Poem of impending gloom and doom, anxiety during the Cold War. Great metaphors again. Just my runner-up for best Dylan song of all time. And my number 1 is, I'm going to go with the chalk, as they say. Like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Highway 61 revisited. Again, Al Cooper all over this one. Some supposedly is written about a socialite, Edie Sedgwick, who was part of the Andy Warhol hangers-on group. The Factory, scathing lyrical masterpiece. It marked an obvious transition from folk to rock. How does it feel? To be on your own, like a Rolling Stone. Just incredible song. A lot of people do have it ranked really high on their list of
Yeah.
individual songs, and I think it's Dylan's best for me.
I'm not sure. I think maybe it wasn't, it was Time Magazine. I think when they ranked their top 500 songs of all time, I believe they had this one number one. I think Rolling Stones had a Beatles song, but I'm pretty sure that Time Magazine had this song as the number one song of all time. So
Yeah.
it's not surprising that it should be very high on anybody's list. Again, love all the rest of yours. You and I both know that one of those definitely is showing up in the next little bit. So,
I think so.
but yeah, we've talked about that enough anyway. So
Yeah.
getting down to it, my number five, you just got through talking about it like a Rolling Stone. Really, you talked about how the transition from folk to rock was really evident in this one from Highway 61. I think it was an important enough song that even if I don't play it all the time, I know it's important enough that it had to be ranked very high here. Number four, these times are a changing. I had to have it this high.
Yeah.
I think it's just really, really timeless song. They had it featured on the Watchmen soundtrack, which they used montage at the beginning of the movie. That is very powerful and great song. I've got it number three. I've got this one a little bit higher than you. Shelter from the Storm, Blood
Yeah.
on the Tracks, 1975. Dylan has a nice solo here. He used acoustic guitars along with his vocals. Chris Martin, during COVID, when they did SNL, was doing their as much as they could anyway during the COVID lockdown and everything. Chris Martin actually performed this live, and I was like, wow, kind of blown away at how well he did it. I'm not like a huge fan of Coldplay or anything, but he definitely did the song justice.
Wow.
Number two, this one might surprise you a little bit. From Oh Mercy, I've got Most of the Time from Dylan. This track is produced by Daniel Lanois, and it's got that same type of feel as maybe Dark, not Dark Yet, on it,
Yeah.
and really melancholy and poignant lyrics, and it's just Bob Dylan through and through. But number one for me, we've talked about this one multiple times in various other projects that we talked about. It features, Robbie Robertson, Cooper again, the staples from Blonde on Blonde. I've got visions of Johanna. I was taking a writing class at the time, and they always said that when you're doing that, maybe you should have some type of muse in your life, that's something that's consistent in your home to inspire you when you're writing. And it just so happened I was spinning Blonde on Blonde one day, and I noticed that my writing just kind of took off on something I was working on, and then so Blonde on Blonde became my muse, and particularly this track. And you
Yeah.
mentioned some of the lyrics, but another one of the lyrics that kind of stood out to me was it said, "Inside the museum, infinity goes up on trial."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was such an intellectually stimulating lyric, and that's really what a museum is that these are the things that we're going to be looking at that speak to time and history in our lives. And are these things going to last?
Right.
I just thought that the lyrics were incredible for it. It's already made into the Library of Congress as as a song of aesthetic importance. It's just absolutely wonderful. So
Very good. That's great. Number one, got to say.
yeah, I mean, I love our top fives. That's for sure. Even our top tens, when you put them next to each other, they're pretty close.
Yeah.
So they're pretty close, and at least they got a lot of stuff that's in the same general area and stuff. And we probably had quite a few matches. Did you keep track of that?
I did not. I should have, but I did. I
Yeah,
think we have at least half.
yeah. It feels like about half.
I
Yeah,
would say 13, 14, maybe in that realm.
right. Excellent.
And
But
notice what neither one of us had some of these, uh, like All Along the Watchtower and
yeah,
My Back Pages. I think people covered them better than Dylan sang the original. That's one of
yeah,
the,
or at least they're more noted. The song's more noted by being covered by somebody else, maybe
yeah,
than Dylan, and that's part of it too. Yeah, I mean, I apologize to anybody who's offended by songs I didn't have, but yeah, hey, list yours down there. I mean,
yeah,
that's the exercise here. And I tried to go for some more contemporary stuff and some deeper cuts. Rich tried to do the same, I think. And If you haven't heard some of those songs, check them out. I think a lot of people would be pleasantly surprised by the things have changed from the Wonder Boys soundtrack.
Oh man, what
I
a
think they
great
will.
song. Yeah.
So, but thanks everyone for joining us. Please like, sub, and comment down below. Thank you, Rich, for helping me out with this project.
Glad to do it. Thank you.
Till next time, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.